Hi, and today I wanted to talk about the software that I created that connects Bluetooth um, for an Android Studio device or Android device, and broadcast that Bluetooth signal over to a Python server. So without further ado, I'm just going to go right into it. So this is the Android what I'm using for this, and it is mentioned, or it should be mentioned in the GitHub, is Android Studio. It's really good for building apps, and it's best of all, it's just free. You can also connect with GitHub on this, of course, and it's run by Google, so everything is very updated. They keep it very much up to date. But going into the code, what you have here is what you'll have class, and then you have what it extends. So this is Java that I'm using, and the main thing that I wanted to focus on today is this Bluetooth class. So I created something called Bluetooth connection. It extends app comp activity, which if you ever dabble within Android Studio, you'll actually get used to app comp activity. It's pretty much what every part of your app will use, just depending on circumstances. You might use something different, but that is usually what it will use. So what I did is first we're going to create a variable here. I create a Bluetooth adapter, Bluetooth adapter, just make it simple name, and a Bluetooth socket. All right, find device. So I named my device Sun God. So if it finds this device, then it's going to try to get it bonded automatically. That is a new method that I've just made today. It's working pretty well. Sometimes it's a little iffy, but for the most part, this does work. I'm going to troubleshoot that a little bit later. Um, and but for the most part, let's look at how it actually connects. So the main method that actually has it connect is the ty connect, which is the method that I use. So I have no idea why this works and why Android Studio Bluetooth methods don't usually work. So I do have thoughts on why that could be. So I believe Android Studio, especially for the main Bluetooth methods, what they'll do is they'll try to use Bluetooth methods or built-in methods that will allow it to communicate with other Android phones and specifically Android phones. But since I wanted this to connect to Python server, it was a lot more difficult. Luckily, there were a few consistencies I saw in a lot of different projects that were similar to mine. And the main thing that I noticed is you create your own method. So first you use method as the as so you create the own method with method and then the name of it equals device.getClass.getMethod. method. So it's a method that creates its own method, which is a little weird, but I did notice this over a course of a few different coders. So we create the new class int.class, and then we create the Bluetooth socket from that method that we created. So it creates the socket, create RFM com socket dot invoke device, and then the port. So what we're looking for is the device and the port. Bluetooth device is going to look for the Bluetooth address. And then the port number is very obvious if you've even done very simple networking. Port just means what kind of it will have a kind of a random number, but I'll choose one just to keep things simple. And then if it finds it, then it cancels discovery. So mbluetooth adapter dot cancel discovery, and then mbluetooth socket dot connect. So the socket already knows the device and the port. So all we have to do is device dot connect, and then the Bluetooth dot is connected. Then we give is connected equals true, and then is connected equals false returns false. So this is a Boolean method that I made. The Boolean is because I can do a little bit more extra with this. A lot of the graphical type interface was done just today. As you'll see in the video that I'll show it later. It's actually my earlier project. So I did upgrade that just a little bit ago with the graphical interface looking a lot better. And what it'll do is it'll try to automatically connect to this robot that I'm creating. So the automatic connection, if it doesn't find it, then it's going to tell the user, hey, I can't find it, because that's going to be a little bit easier for the user than trying to guess what the name is, trying to connect to it, especially if they struggle with technology a little bit more. But as we go on, so the tie connect is the biggest one that I wanted to focus on, but I do want to show a few different other methods. So I don't have this working right now. The public string read, so it can read a string from Bluetooth. That isn't a problem, but what it'll do is it'll read and read and read, and it won't stop reading. And I think it just loops itself right now, so it won't. It doesn't work super well. So I'm keeping this method kind of in a testing phase. Right, works perfectly well. There's no huge issue with that. All you're doing is you basically create a string, and then you got there's a built-in method called .get output stream, and then the output will just write those bytes towards the device you're looking for, and those bytes obviously translate into what you're looking for. So text and picture right now. Picture I'm having a little bit of trouble with as well, but for the most part, picture does work. And then this is get pic. So it can receive pictures actually pretty well. If the Python server sends it, then it's fine. If it sends it, sometimes there's difficulties. It just depends on the picture. So I'm noticing that if I compress it to a size before I send it, I think that'll work. But just so I can get to this video, I wanted to show the basic progress that I've made. There is going to be an upcoming project where I'm going to finish the app, and I'm going to make it so it's available on Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. Hopefully fix up some of those methods that I showed as well. So that is going to be for later. But for now, I'm going to just go into Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to show you the Python server that I created. And this is a little bit easier to understand, especially if you've done Python before. But it imports Bluetooth. For some reason on my Linux computer, I know sometimes Python doesn't recognize Bluetooth. If that's the case, you do need to have a certain library for it. And I'll try to leave a link below on something that helps me with that. But the server sock equals Bluetooth socket, and then in parentheses Bluetooth.rfcom. What this does is this sets up the socket to connect as a server. It binds, and then it creates a port, which obviously, like I said, I wanted to keep it simple. And I just used 1 for the port number. And then it's going to accept that if it does find it. And then it prints all of this out. That's what I'm showing in my demo is it prints accepted from, and then the address, which is going to be the client sock. And then the rest is just trying to receive the bytes. So it receives 1024 bytes max right now. You do need to increase that if it's the picture that you're receiving. And I have a method that I worked on for that. But like I said, it depends. So we are going to have to fix that up later. But for now, this works perfectly. If you noticed, I have a few different statements: accepted, connection from, and then the address. It looks redundant, but it actually is not. So what will happen is if for some reason it breaks from the Bluetooth connection, let's say I go to the bathroom and I took my phone with me as a human does. If that's the case, then what will happen is the Bluetooth will break off and it will say, hey, it's disconnected, and it'll stop right there. So what this will do is it creates a try and a catch statement. If you only have one try and accept, what it'll do is it'll move on to this accept statement. And then if you move again, it'll crash again. So what I did is I created while true and then a try and accept. So it just always keeps the Python server open. I believe there probably is an easier way, and if somebody knows that, I'd be happy to hear that input. But for now, this is my code, and I'll move on to the demo. Thank you for watching. I open up the app. The app isn't cleaned up or anything right now. It's very much in the infant state right now, but what we're gonna do is I'm gonna upload the Python 3 basic connection.py, hit enter. That creates the server. Right. And then what we're gonna do is connect by scrolling down to mini robot. It does have to be connected first for this to work. So I clicked that. As you can see, it accepted the connection, and then it gives the address and the port number. And then we have a way to click test. So let's go back to the Python server. It says receiving, testing 1, 2, 3 through Bluetooth. And then we can click on chat control or manual control. I'm gonna click on manual control. And then click write. As you can see, graphics aren't super great on it right now, but it was mainly the Bluetooth that I was looking at through this, or the Bluetooth method backbone for it. So that's what I'm going to be showing throughout this video.